Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We are looking at 7 games here on a Thursday. 7 p.m. start time. We got Utah, Washington, Philly, Indiana. There at 7 p.m. We got a 10:30 game on the slate. Late night hammer. Chicago Bulls going into Los Angeles against the Lakers. They're now giving us 2 straight slates with 10 p.m. games on it here, James. At least on DraftKings. FanDuel on Wednesday cut out not only the 10 p.m. game, but the 9:30 game there as well. So we'll have to, for our FanDuel friends, check on over there whenever that slate eventually becomes available. Maybe available now, James. You let me know if they did in fact include the 10 p.m. games or not. Either way, it's a pretty fun slate. Utah, Washington. Washington is on a back-to-back, but Utah has obviously been a pretty fun team for us here lately. We have Joel Embiid up against the Indiana Pacers. No Tyrese Halliburton. Embiid coming off the 70-point game. We went for 105 DraftKings points. Boston, Miami, we know the story playoff matchup that likely could see itself down the road. Terry Rozier off the bench for Miami in his debut. Sacramento, Golden State, always can be a barn burner there. And then again, Chicago, LA as your late night hammer. Minnesota, Brooklyn, Denver, New York also on the slate here as well. Initial thoughts on some of these matchups here, James?
FanDuel, John?
Yeah.
Does have late night games. So that's good that they're in sync there. Initial thoughts is obviously what will Joel Embiid do as an encore against a pretty bad Indiana front court. We just saw Jokic light them up for a 31-point triple-double the other day. Indiana's exploring with Pascal Siakam at the 5 a lot.
Yeah. And
that could be a bad thing for Pascal Siakam. And I mean, obviously Miles Turner can be good at times, but he has definitely not been as good defensively this year.
We'll go in more depth, obviously, on Joel Embiid here, but in the 2 games against him this year, he's averaging 68 fantasy points. So
yeah, so coming off a 70 actual point game is, and I don't know if you saw the jacket he was wearing today at practice, John, but oh boy, it was. I mean, it was a jacket you wear when you score 70, but also you're gonna score 50.
I guess, was he feeling himself a little bit with the jacket?
Oh, dude, it was a almost a Freudian slip.
I'd have to click a different button when I post the show today.
That would be true. That wasn't even what you were. I wasn't even gonna say that. But 11.6K is just too cheap. That's my first thought. 11.3 is too cheap for Jokic. 10.2 is too cheap for. We have hit a stretch, John, where pricing has been incredibly stiff for like 3 months, and now at the exact halfway point in the NBA season, where every team has played 40 games, it's like we're gonna pay more attention to football,
right?
Again. And now our pricing's gonna be soft. So, that's my initial thought. Definitely some really, really, really fun matchups overall. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at some of these notable spreads and totals that we have here on this slate. Philly, Indiana is only, how about this one? Only getting 4.5 at home. I don't know.
It's the Denver thing the other day. Remember you said the same thing, and then Jokic had to hit like 2 late threes to
go over.
They're good. They're a good team. They're a good team.
They're better, I guess, than I give them credit for. It's just Joel Embiid's been so dominant here. 237.5 game total, so pretty good. If we're going to get 38 minutes out of Embiid, he may go for 100 again. Utah, Washington. Actual. Washington getting 7.5 at home. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back. Did they pull off the win today? Washington did not. They lost by 11 to Minnesota. Washington getting 7.5. That's a 243.5 game total. Utah just 11-13 on the road against the spread this year. So maybe Washington hangs in second night. Minnesota, Brooklyn 217. Brooklyn getting 4.5. Pretty gross. Boston, Miami 7-point home underdogs 225.5 in that game. Denver, New York getting 2.5 at home 224. Denver's 8-15-1 on the road against the spread here. So again, close total, low total, close spread in that one. Sacramento, Golden State, 240.5. Golden State getting a 1.5 here at home. Golden State, we talked about their struggles. They're 7-14 at home against the spread this season. Chicago, LA closes the night. Lakers are 4.5-point home favorites. Just a 224 total in that one there, James.
Is that? I know the Lakers are not that good. They are a good team at home this year. Is that number? I mean, I know Davis and LeBron are both questionable for this game.
Yeah, they're a good home team record-wise. They're 17-18 overall at home, 23-23 overall, but against the spread at home, just 10-13, and they're 4-6 against the spread over the last 10. Chicago's 10-11 on the road against the spread, 7-14 overall on the road, but they're 6-4 against the spread in their last 10. So, kind of an interesting game there.
I just think it's interesting that we're seeing just 4.5 open 5.5, but open 4.5 now it's already moved a point, maybe suggesting that's going to continue to rise a little bit, and we're definitely going to see the likes
for sure. Let's get in a position by position breakdown here. Steph Curry is your top price guy, 93. De'Aaron Fox at 9K. Brunson, Murray, Maxey, Edwards, your 8K range. All pretty good spots. Jalen Brunson's obviously had some big days. You were in on the Jamal Murray pivot the other day. We know what Maxey is capable of doing. And then you got the guards and Fox and Curry battling against each other. Where are we? What were our first opinions here on this top tier of point guards?
I think any of them are in play. Curry on a back-to-back. He's had really good outings against the Kings. He's averaging 30 actual, 47 DraftKings points in 3 games against them this year. So if you want to get to Steph, second leg of a back-to-back, that's fine. Conversely, we've talked about it a bunch. Golden State is a bad defensive team. At least in the month of January, they've ranked last in that category. So De'Aaron Fox coming off a floor game where, sometimes you just give way to Harrison Barnes and you let Harrison Barnes cook. What are you supposed to do in that instance, So he had been really, really good going into that game. So if you want to get to De'Aaron Fox,
averaging 55 fantasy points in 2 games against Golden State this season.
Yep, 34 actual. So firmly in play. Brunson, this is definitely the I would say the best game on the board. Boston, Miami. This is one of the 2 best games, I would say. Probably, I mean, the Knicks are as good a form as anybody else in basketball right now. So it's just a tough matchup for both sides, right? But they're elite players. So if you want to play either of them, I can't fault you for getting there. It's just a really tough spot when you could play Tyrese Maxey for cheaper, who, I know he hasn't been great, but nothing you can really do when a guy goes for 70. It's not like it's not like Embiid's going to score 70 actual every night. That's going to lead to some big Maxey games, which we've seen in the past. So definitely Maxey. And Conley was listed with an illness. Sure. Obviously, that could just be a mask for front end of a back-to-back because it's the second straight back-to-back Conley has sat one of the legs. We'll see. But if Conley were to sit again,
Anthony Edwards had 38 actual tonight. So
yeah, dude, he's just too cheap. I know he didn't have a great peripheral game, but 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal.
That's 50 plus, right?
Yeah, it's 50 plus for an $8,400 player in a good spot because Brooklyn's been quite bad.
Yeah. Kobe White here at $7,600. D'Angelo Russell, 7K, going up against one another. Colin Sexton, $6,600. Slight price boost for our guy here. Derek White, also 66. Thoughts on this range?
I mean, if either LeBron or Davis sit, obviously we're just going to go back to the Russell well. He was fantastic again. Sometimes you just have to go with the data. I faded the wrong guy. I played Austin Reeves. I didn't play Russell. The Murray pivot worked. I just need to pivot off of Reeves and not Russell, right? So that's fine with me. Sometimes and I understand it. The data was pointing to Russell, and I chose to go a different direction. Not going to make that mistake again if LeBron or Davis or both are out. You just plug Russell and move on. So you could say the same thing about Kobe White at this point. It's a great matchup for the Bulls. Very fat, very big pace up spot for Chicago. He was 1 assist shy of a triple double. He's made 4 of his 5 threes. Like, it just really did a little bit of everything. So 7,600. But dude, like, even with a $400 price bump, Colin Sexton had 38 fantasy points in 24 minutes because of a blowout. Like, and now gets Washington. It's just like one of those things where I get it that his price did actually go up. It only went up $400. He should be a 7K. Look at the
I'm upset because I faded his point prop.
Oh no, you knew.
I knew it, and I was worried about the Pelicans matchup, rightfully so. They
Right.
lost by 30, but the dude was
Yes.
such a bucket. He had 22 in 24 minutes. It was a 20.5 point prop. So, hit the over. I didn't take the under. Definitely didn't take the under, but I just didn't take it at all.
Right, didn't bet it.
And he had little trouble, really getting there, and would have smashed had this game been more competitive. They're 7-point favorites here, but they're on the road, so maybe they do play a competitive game and we get 40 minutes out of him here. So this feels like another day where we're just plugging Sexton and kind of moving on.
Dude, it's like the thing about it too is that both these teams play so fast. Like, it's like, if this game stays competitive at all, Utah's first, Washington's 6th in the month of January in terms of pace.
Yep.
2 top 6 teams in pace. Sign me up for as much exposure here as you can get.
Price bump for Tyus here, a little bit, but
back to back.
Yeah, and it's a
back to back bump.
And it's a back to back, right? But he's been really good. Like we focused a lot on Jordan Poole this offseason, and Tyus Jones has actually been the better guard.
Yep. Really bad game on Wednesday. Yep. Just gonna chalk that one up and move on. A lot of Washington players had bad games outside of like Kuzma and Avdia, and Marvin Bagley off the bench, who, that's a different discussion for a different day. But this day, it will be this day, actually. We'll have this discussion for Marvin Bagley. But
I tweeted it out the other day, so we'll talk about it for sure.
Yeah. But he's been super consistent and super reliable. So I have no problem getting there. I don't love the $6,500 price bump. When like I would just feel more comfortable playing Sexton for $100 more on the
100%. Do you play the Boston guards?
I like the Drew price. That's it. I like them both. I mean, they're full strength, right? So
should be.
That's always it looks like they're just full capacity. The worry every single time for me when it comes to the using Boston is when like everyone's healthy and you're not using like Porzingis, Brown, or Tatum. I like the price on White. I like the price on Holiday. They're just such secondary plays when it comes to DFS.
White just went 1 for 7 from 3 in that game. That's kind of what happens. Make miss league. Derek White misses his shots. He doesn't hit it. Meanwhile, Drew Holiday's had 3 of the last 4 games, some pretty big time performances. We've been playing a lot of League Monk. I don't think that's going to be changing here at 6K.
No, he has a really high ceiling. I don't love the minutes the last 2 games, but even when he's limited, it's just like one of those situations where he's 2 assists shy of a double-double. Still like kind of gets us there just because he's such a stat sheet stuffer. So I like Monk and Torres for sure.
Cam Thomas, TJ McConnell, Nembhard, obviously with no Tyrese Halliburton. Nembhard's the guy that starts there. Dinwiddie got benched for Dennis Smith Jr. last game. I don't think we want to mess around with Brooklyn too much here, but where are we going for some value guards?
They all got freaking. It is Mikal Bridges,
and that's it.
And it's Claxton. Like, that is the only 2-minute, like the minute floor ceilings you can trust at this point. I do like the Nembhard run, 27 minutes. He was really good offensively, 15 and 7. McConnell had more fantasy points. So if you want to play McConnell, revenge narrative, ex-Philly 76er TJ McConnell is. So 20 minutes, 54. See, 20 minutes is doable at 5,400 for McConnell. But I still lean Nembhard. He's going to be the guy who starts in this game. I mentioned Io to you the other day, John. He played 30 minutes. He scored again, and then he just doesn't do the peripheral stats that he's been doing, right? Like he continues his stretch of good scoring. This is a pretty good spot against the Lakers. So I think Io DeSumo is a fine play. Chris Dunn, 17 minutes, 20 fantasy points. He had a really good stretch. He had just lost out to the blowout. If you want to play Chris Dunn, I think that's like a viable
What did Shake end up
spend
playing
down.
tonight? Do we know?
He actually got some solid run 2 games in a row. He played 19 minutes.
Okay.
2 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block.
Okay.
Not bad. I mean, 19 minutes. NEW played 30. McLaughlin played 13. Shake played 19. Kyle Anderson played 22. They were all like,
nothing crazy. Shooting guard.
No.
Jaylen Brown's $8,300. Rozier 73. Mikal is 72, coming off of a really big scoring performance.
Yeah.
Hero 68. We talked Sexton, White already. Klay Thompson's having an okay start. Clarkson 62. Any one particular player jumping out to you here in the top half?
Probably Mikal. I mean, Miami continue. I guess they play Minnesota. I guess the TBD on what Miami's going to do on a back-to-back.
Sure.
Could see Jimmy sit, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen. I don't know if we've seen Jimmy play a back-to-back since he's returned. Mikal, obviously GPPs. If there's no Conley, they haven't looked as good defensively. Just in general, they haven't looked as good. So maybe some Bridges and tournaments. It's a good price. Clarkson 62 is a really good tournament spot, like bounce back spot. I mean, he went 4 for 9 and had 10 fantasy points, but he had 56 fantasy points the night before, right? Like, we continue to sit on these airwaves and talk about how much we want to play Colin Sexton, and it's for good reason.
Yep.
But like, I couldn't blame anybody. Like, if you're thinking, and we said this, if you remember, a few slates back, when Colin Sexton was not getting any ownership and Jordan Clarkson was getting all the ownership. Yeah. And we were just kind of like, well, to differentiate yourself in a tournament, you could just play Colin Sexton, who's the starter. And if Jordan Clarkson doesn't do Jordan Clarkson things, then you're going to beat the field. And Colin Sexton went for 50 fantasy points and Jordan Clarkson didn't. This could be like reverse, where Jordan Clarkson is now cheaper. He's coming off the bench. Right. He is an absolute monster that people don't want to see coming off an opposing bench. Just throwing it out there as like as an option of like, well, we could just play
good pivot
Sexton, or we could play both. Or you could just like double up and play both because Washington's that bad.
Yeah, under 6K. Anybody down here jumping off the page to you?
I mean, I'd be okay going back to Reeves if somebody sits. He wasn't great, wasn't anything special. Kevin Huerter, if the shot falls, there's like a ceiling.
Mathurin got 28 minutes. He's out of the 5K here.
Mathurin got 28 minutes. That was super impressive because he didn't even really make shots and got 28 minutes, which I think usually like is a correlation. He needs to make shots.
Not a ton of other value down here, I'll be honest with you.
Like KCP is going to play 35 plus minutes. If there's no Mike Conley, like I don't love the NAW price necessarily. NAW tonight was fine. He had like 22 fantasy points for, he had 31 minutes, 6 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal.
Yeah.
Like super fine, right? With like 4,200. Now he's 45.
Yeah.
I'm
fine. Small forward, got Jason Tatum here at 97, LeBron James 92. LeBron James at $9,200. It's
that's crazy.
Tag if he's out there. I definitely don't mind doing that one. Tatum obviously has a history of good games against Miami in the playoffs, but Ori Markkinen's 8K against Washington, so this is probably where we settle.
Yeah, it is. I got nothing
else. Pelicans game aside, obviously he's dominated for a lot of this year. Price tag is a little bit too cheap given where he has been.
He's going to be super popular.
Yep. Maybe future Laker DeMar DeRozan, $7,400 still.
God, I hope not. I hope it's Levine and not DeRozan.
Toby's questionable. We got not terrible play, obviously, given some of his upside we've seen this year, even with Joel Embiid at times. Michael Porter Jr. $6,300. And again, a lot of guys after that we have talked about. Josh Hart maybe for some value down here at 43. If guys are out, you have Hachimura, Prince, Neesmith at 46. Again, not like my favorite run of guys here.
Well, what would we do? I think Philly's probably a discussion here. If what would they do with Toby if Toby's rolled out? Because Melton's already out.
Morris probably.
Morris is questionable.
Oh, I mean,
he's probable. Yeah. He's probable. Should be okay to play. I'm just curious. Like, it's probably Oubre started the last game with the Anthony Melton, but there's no Melton, so it would be Maxey, Oubre, Embiid, Batum. Fifth starter is Daniel House.
Sure.
23 and 27 minutes the last two games.
Seems like it.
He's $3,400 if he starts. Would you play Daniel House?
I don't really want to. We kind of know what Daniel House is, right?
Yeah, he's not a great play. Like Fontecchio is 4,100.
I would or for sure play Fontecchio.
Yeah, Fontecchio 41, Kriston 39. I'd rather play the Utah value. I'm also just pointing out, just an option possibly.
Harry B, you scoffed at me when I was telling you that he was knocking down these shots.
I mean, dude.
He goes with 32 actual in this game. I mean, he'll never do that again. But
he had 33 on opening night. And
then on Kobe's 81 day, he had 32. I don't know. It was a joke at first, and then he just didn't miss.
He just didn't miss.
He just kept feeding him buckets. Fontecchio 100% though. I don't see a reason to go anywhere else down here. Power forward, we've talked a lot of these guys. We'll talk AD at center. Randall's at 89, Towns 82. Does Randall get it done against Denver here?
Randall can get it done against anybody. This is obviously a tough spot. So, I mean, if you want to play Randall. So, I think it's interesting. Hartenstein is questionable again.
Yeah.
If Hartenstein doesn't play, we're not going to see Randall at the 5, which we saw a little bit of last game. Yeah, maybe you do actually, because we've seen teams try to do it with Hachimura last postseason, right? Where they split Hachimura on Jokic, and then we saw it with Tobias Harris guarding him in that Philly game this year. So maybe they would go small and use Randall at the center at times, but he's had big games against a lot of tough opponents. He had monster games against Milwaukee earlier in the year, and we know how Milwaukee's front court can be. He had 39 against Minnesota, 39 actual against Minnesota.
Yeah, I've seen what he did against Philly this year. It's sort of like a
barometer.
Yeah, I mean, it's been only one game. It was not great. So hard to hold that against them. Really, it's a big task if they're going to handle that. So,
I mean, he just has he's just really. He's back-to-back 50s, almost back-to-back triple doubles.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play him, play him.
Sure.
He also has a 30-point floor, so.
Towns on the back-to-back. We'll talk Porzingis at the center position. Kuzma at 79 is not a terrible price tag here.
Yeah, coming off a really big game time.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. What's your heat sensors on Siakam?
I mean, this price is stupid. I think he fits perfectly. It's just they reported during that game, the Denver game, he had yet to have a single practice with the team. So it's just been because it's been travel to Portland, travel to Phoenix, home against Denver, where you're just traveling. So
only
no
one
practice.
Game with Halliburton too, which isn't.
Yeah, one game with Halliburton. So I'm assuming they got the practice in today. This is too cheap. So I'm perfectly fine getting to Siakam 7,100. We're not going to get this for much longer. Stayed out of foul trouble, got the double-double, hasn't really shot well the last two games. So I'm perfectly fine. I don't think we can look at this price and be he just hasn't really looked good. He has looked pretty good. He's just been in big foul trouble in 2 of the 3
Yeah.
games, and he had yet to practice with the team. Like, it's hard to just like, here you go, buddy. Like, we're gonna hand you the keys without Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
And he's probably like, hey, well, I don't know what any
I
of the
don't know the
plays
plays
are.
are.
So, like,
Yeah, exactly.
so I am definitely looking at that price and being like, well, this is an 8K plus player that we're getting a discount because, you know, he's getting acclimated to a system that he probably was actually able to like learn.
Yep, agreed. Again, we talked MPJ already. Denny had a good day the other 2 days ago. Or was it tonight? Maybe I was looking at it. What did Denny do tonight? Did Denny have a day today? Tell me if I'm wrong or not. Did Denny have a good night?
And he had a big, yeah.
Okay,
he had
20,
another good
24,
game.
6, and 6 for Denny. We go this back and forth with him all the time, right? Like, tough game against Denver, had a good game against San Antonio, had a monster day against Atlanta down here, had a big, huge game against the Knicks, big game tonight against Minnesota. Like, there's nothing on Utah that should prevent Denny from having a good game here.
No, nothing. And that it's good to see that Knicks game that you pointed out came on the second leg of a back-to-back.
Right.
I feel like sometimes we've worried about Washington on back-to-backs and stuff, but that's good to see. So yeah, I finally starting to get the offense a little more consistent for Denny.
Agreed. Keegan, always a good play. You know, the shooting can always just be there for him. He's averaging 28 fantasy points in 2 games against Golden State while shooting just 16% from 3. This is a guy that is a 40% 3-point shooter. So know what the ceiling could be there for him. Kuminga was having a pretty good game tonight. They're at halftime in that game against Atlanta right now. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 14 minutes for Jonathan. Can't start on the Warriors, Kuminga.
Why?
He's like their best forward. So, like,
he just,
I mean, dude, he's on his way to give you another one of these days. So,
yep, 20 and 10. He's gonna have another 20 and 10.
Yeah, 3 games against Sacramento. He's only playing 17 minutes. Like, maybe it's Sabonis. I don't know, but let the man play. Right?
Well, it's like just one of those things where you also factor in earlier in the year how like inconsistent his were. I remember they played Sacramento so they played Sacramento the second game and the 4th game of the year.
True.
And then their 3rd game came.
He played 10 minutes in that 3rd game.
In the 11 and in a 1-point loss.
Yeah. He had 3 fouls in 10 minutes, and Kerr never put him back on the floor. So, anyways, he's been great. He's been great tonight. Another good stat line on the way. A whole cluster, obviously, of Warriors down here. Gordon, OG, I don't really care for much that. Collins and Batum, I guess, at 48. If Toby's out, would be. I mean, he's been good fantasy.
He's been starting too.
Yeah.
Like, aside from
he's just not going to shoot. But if Tobias Harris ends up being out,
a couple more shots
maybe go his way. We say this all the time. It's impossible to find shots when Joel Embiid's taking 35, right? Like,
and Maxi's taking 20.
Right. But Batum's been good. He's giving you steals, giving you blocks, rebounds. He had 6 assists, 5 assists. So
Charlotte max contract Batum here.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine going Batum at 48 down here. We talked Neesmith already. I
mentioned Collins, by the way. I would play Collins for the record.
Okay. Yeah, Collins is good. I would agree with you. Fontecchio, we've talked. The Achua thing here is obviously played 21 minutes, 6'9" and 2. He's 4,500. You know,
he played 6 first half minutes, and then played the final 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Jericho Sims didn't sniff the floor, and after starting with 4 blocks in that game.
I like Josh Hart. I know he didn't 1 for 7 shooting. Like, those days happen for him, but I like Josh Hart here.
Yeah, I hope we get Lakers news early enough.
Sure, because you want to play Hachimura, Vanderbilt, that crew.
Dude, Vanderbilt was great in that game. Vanderbilt had 33 fantasy points. That was like Minnesota Vanderbilt. Yes. Like when we would get like days where he starts in Minnesota and does a little bit of
Utah
everything.
Vanderbilt even.
Utah Vanderbilt, right. So like I'm just hoping we get the news early enough to where we can
So Denver Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Holy smokes!
Going all the way back. Yeah.
Taking out. You're one of those people just taking off your jerseys as Jared Vanderbilt each stuff.
Well, it's just funny that he's been on all those teams, but
I know he's still so young and he's like super young.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's probably it.
Yeah, Toppin's minutes kind of fell off a cliff. Maybe there's like more minutes for like you did mention Neesmith earlier, and I didn't like mean to just scoot past it, but 33 minutes in that game for Neesmith. Jalen Smith, I don't know if you saw, this has happened to Jalen Smith like 5 times this year. Not on the injury report, didn't come out of the tunnel for warmups, and then was just scratched in the middle of the game. They were just like, not going to play. This happened like 3 times this year to Jalen Smith. Do you remember that one like random chalk night where he was like 50% owned and he just never came out of the tunnel? So if Smith is out again, maybe we just go back to the Neesmith.
Sure.
Just guarantee like 30 minutes there for.
I mean, he can score. We know that. And he's only 1 for 7 from 3 too, which is usually his calling card. So.
And he's going to guard, and they need him to guard Max.
Would you rather him or Fontecchio?
Oh, Simone for sure. Okay. I mean, that guy.
It's a better matchup.
That beautiful SOB just out there, just smashing.
It is quite a smile he has on his.
Dude, and also he's like, we're paying like $5,000, and you and I were sitting over there like, yeah, we'd probably get to like Fontecchio, and then he had like this like kind of like bad stretch. And mostly because of blowouts, they were just blowing teams out on a homestand. And then we saw the Utah price plummet, and now he's 4K again, still playing 29 minutes in competitive games. You're like, oh.
And as we say with some of these guys, he's always live to hit 5 threes. So
always live to hit 5 threes. Dude. He's there to space. He's there to space and defend like the other team's best wing players.
Yeah. So. You guys like that are live to hit 5 threes. They get 30-point upside, 30x upside there, 30 fantasy point upside. Sorry.
There you go. You almost got it.
Center position. Speaking of someone with 30x upside, Joel Embiid is here at 11.6. He 10x'd his 11.4 price tag almost.
He did. He sure did.
Of course, you can play him there. Can also play Joker here tonight. Again, no arguments. 34, 42, 31. Maybe he lost his favorite MVP status. He's like, oh. I guess I gotta go and try to do things.
Yes.
He's there. Obviously, Anthony Davis. If you want to go Anthony Davis, he's no stranger to 60 fantasy point games here either. Went for 50 against Chicago earlier this season. Sabonis against Golden State, $9,900. He's averaging 48 in 3 games against them. Certainly can run that direction. Man gave you 21 boards against Atlanta. Triple-double, 3 games before that. So,
Dude, and a price drop.
And a price drop.
Under 10K.
So if you want the Squirtle version of Jokic and Embiid, you want the initial evolution version of it, that's fine. I don't know. Zinger 81, Bam 85. They're going up against one another here. How do you think that matchup plays out?
Both coming last time they both played. Bam played on Wednesday, he smashed, and Porzingis smashed last time he played. I mean, they're both like really athletic bigs that can stretch the floor a little bit, guard the perimeter, guard in the post, block shots, pass. Like they can both do a little bit of everything. Yeah. I don't know if I get to either of them. Maybe if someone sat for either team, then you start talking about like getting into that area, but I don't think either a priority with like fully healthy.
Sure. Mid-tier guys. Vucevic, Gobert, Claxton, Turner, anybody?
I mean, dude, if you can tell me when the 50 burger for Vooch is coming, please let me know.
I don't think it's happening against Anthony Davis.
It's every other game. I mean, like, who knows, dude? Who knows? Because it's just at this rate, like, he just has random 50s, and then he goes for 30, and then he's like, actually, I can do whatever I want offensively again. And so if you can guess the right day, he has a massive ceiling. Gobert had another like 20 rebounds tonight. You can definitely get to Gobert if you want. I do like Nick Claxton quite a bit, John. The minutes have been fantastic for him. Someone that we didn't feel that way earlier in the year. Daron Sharp goes out, and now he's played like 30 plus minutes or 33 plus minutes in every game that's basically stayed competitive or he stayed out of foul trouble in. Coming off 17 rebounds. He just has a ton of rebounds, but he's scoring a little bit more too. So 6,900, I'm okay getting there, even with the Gobert matchup. You know, he's going to spend most of his time around the paint. I mean, Miles Turner is just in such deep water in this game. He is in perpetual foul trouble. I know he had a good game a few games ago against Portland, took a bunch of shots against Denver. I'm definitely worried for his health and safety in this game. With Embiid on the other side, same thing goes for Gafford. Really, fouls constantly the last 2 games, and with Marvin Bagley playing the way he's played, it's like, well, maybe that's turns more into an even split. Bagley had a 17-15 game tonight. It's just like hard to want to get to Gafford.
20 and 11, 21 and 12. Gafford
Yeah.
came back. He gave you 14 and 7 in 18 minutes. And then tonight, he did what he did. So he's probably the better center. Like, I know he's not made better defensively if you even think Gafford's a good defensive center, but you know, I think he's certainly in play.
I think he's certainly in play as well. So for tournaments, why not? Draymond has looked pretty good. He played 13 first half minutes, so tracking for 26. We'll see how the second half ends, but he looked really good. If he's going to play in a back-to-back, I wouldn't see why we don't continue to see the minutes trending upwards for Draymond Green. So I kind of like that spot. Walker Kessler, even in the blowout, 25 minutes. Didn't start like you and I kind of alluded to. Don't think this would be a spot he starts either. Just like, but maybe
here. Yeah.
Just the blocks. When you get like the blocks and rebounds game for Kessler, if like the points come along with it, dude, he has 40 in his bag at 4,900. So there's definitely a case to be made for Walker Kessler. Would you play Jericho Sims if where is Jericho Sims?
4,200. I mean, not really. You against Jokic.
Yeah, I just don't know if they can do the Precious thing.
I don't think they have anybody, honestly. So
they need Hartenstein to just play.
Yeah, they got a whole Hartenstein plays. So I don't really care for much else down here, though.
Okay, Kelly O 36. I can get there in tournaments, but that's like, and then if Anthony Davis were to sit, Christian Wood, obviously.
Sure. All right, let's get a lineup build here. I'm just gonna start with that. We have 5,500 to play.
Wait, why are we playing him?
Fontecchio sounds pretty good.
She's ignoring me. Colin Sexton.
Sexton sounds pretty good.
Every slate we just build with Utah. It's just like I just can't believe that we just get this like pricing every slate. Like every slate, it's just the same thing.
I agree with you.
Oh, we didn't mention Pat Will, by the way, who's 4,500. Price went down. Played 32 minutes. Had another like solid outing. Just throwing that out there. He's probable for this game.
5,600. Probably. You want to go Monk here or no?
We can.
Do we go? We try Bagley.
I don't think we need to double up this.
Okay. John Collins. Oh, we have a couple of Utah guys. Well, we liked Laurie. Can we fit Laurie in this lineup here?
Probably.
Let's go this.
You play any of like the Lakers, like Taurean Prince is 4,400. He's going to start regardless. Harry B is 42.
I'm fine going there. Does Vanderbilt play regardless or no?
Vanderbilt will play 20 or so minutes. Yeah.
Who do you think is better off?
I was gonna say Daniel House, but we don't know the total week status, so I can't go there.
We could go Batum. He's gonna play no matter what.
Yeah, Batum's fine. Yep.
Would you rather Batum or Prince?
Batum is in a really good spot. Prince is in a really pace down environment.
Okay. 4,800 guard. Well, we didn't consider Pat Bev.
Yeah, he could start.
He could
If
start.
he could start, they can go like double guard.
Yeah. And
Double
go
guard
Oubre
line.
at the 3 and Batum at the 4.
Yeah, because I mean Oubre's been a 2 through 4 for his whole career. He can play anywhere on the wing.
Yeah.
So.
You've been talking about Io. I'm good going Io there at 46. Then 5K, got John Collins.
That's 4 Utah, but like it is Washington.
Yeah, Neesmith is down here.
Matherin. I do not like this. I do not like this tier.
I mean, I agree with you. It's just if we're getting Embiid, we'd have to come off Laurie, I guess.
Or Sexton.
I don't really want to get off Sexton though.
Either at 66.
The
The easy solution here is like post. I mean, we're like Harrison Barnes at 42 over Batum or something like that.
Sure. Let's see, 6,500.
No, play Markkanen, dude. We both want to play Markkanen in this spot. Go like Harry B over Batum. Not, obviously
I don't like that though. What do we do? What do we say though before Prince?
I don't either. I really don't either.
Prince is $400 cheaper. Prince is $400 cheaper.
Yeah, okay.
$5,400 util's got to be something better here.
That's what you think.
Didn't we? Ubre's better. Sexton, Nembhard, Fontecchio, Markkanen, Embiid, Dosunmu, Prince, and Oubre as an example lineup for everybody here. We'll be back, obviously, 5 o'clock live stream, breaking down all the news and action for the day. If you have any questions, get us in the Discord. Find us over on Twitter, and we will catch you all later.